Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and social media marketing and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And today I am so stoked to have Susan Fry with me. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you, Lorraine.
Susan, tell me a little bit about your business and what you do and who you help.
Well, I have been coaching people for over 25 years, and I have helped all types of people. I have from housewives to I have one billionaire client. And so I talk with, people of all ages, but since December, I've started working with women business leaders, women business owners, and entrepreneurs. So I'm focusing in on that at this particular time.
Awesome. And there are like thousands of coaches out there. What separates you from the rest?
Well, you know what? It's, people look at me and they see, oh, you're normal and you've got it all together. But they have no idea what I've come from and the trauma and the experience that I have been through to get to where I am today. So everything in my coaching, I have experienced. I have gone through. I have a lot of wisdom and knowledge in helping people to find the right question so that they can get their answer. Because I've gone through the experience. It's all inside of me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's always good to have somebody by your side that has gone through and that can actually empathize with you and know, sometimes, when you're sharing your journey with others, you could tell that they don't get it, that they don't understand. But it's nice that you've been through so much that you're able to help other people.
Yeah, so, it's my own, it's really my own trial and error process. And I've helped people to find that hope on the other side. So I'm more like a guide than a coach because I'm just pulling out what's already inside of you.
That's awesome. Now, there are some people who have never been coached before. They don't even know what it's like. So they may be a little bit shaky about even starting the process. What would you say if someone was just curious, but is probably a little leery of it? What would you say to them to make them feel like it could be a good process for you to go through?
Well, I would say it all starts with you. And I have a quiz that I give people that is it's an opener and will help you to really see who you are. And it's just going to help you see what's holding you back and what's stopping you from being happy, progressing, going forward. And, we all had trauma, negative experiences in our life, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. And our imperfections actually make us who we are. And a lot of times people, especially in today's world, do not believe that they can be human, be imperfect. And we're all going through the same thing. So.
Oh, you mean I don't have to be perfect?
No. Well, you're not perfect, but a lot of people, I think today a lot of people really want the real deal. They want people that are authentic, and they want to be authentic. But a lot of people are just trapped inside and they're not expressing themselves because of the fear of failure, mistakes, and imperfections. And this is the way that I basically grew up. I was out to prove myself because, I was always told as a little girl, you're bad if you cry or express your feelings. And so, you really want to get out there and, speak your truth. It's very healing and very revealing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just like, a whole bunch of things went through my mind while you were saying those things, because I remember even, I don't know if your parents said this, but I remember my parents say, children should be quiet,
seen and not heard,
but not heard. Thank you. I was just like, I remember even like my grandparents saying that. So it was like I would just remember my brother and I always like just running around and just trying to be very quiet, even though we played with very noisy toys, it was so funny. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. And because a lot of people who listen to this are people who are business owners, entrepreneurs, and sometimes they're stuck in their businesses. And I'm a firm believer that sometimes the reason why they're stuck is a whole mindset type of a thing. Do you have anything to add to that, or anything that you want to say along the lines, like maybe they're in their business, but they're not growing, something's holding them back? I mean, is there anything that you can add to this conversation on that?
Yeah, it's really, everything in your life is right in front of you. So if you will look at the small and simple things that you do each day, that's where you will find what's holding you back. I was just working with a lady this morning, top executive at Nordstrom, and she said her first husband and she's been married twice. Her second husband said, you put your mind to something and you make it happen. You achieve the goal. But she's talking to me about, she says, I can do anything but stop eating sugar. And it's these small and simple things that I go down and find what your core beliefs are that are running your life unconsciously. Because those are the things that hold you back. Those are the things that keep you stuck. And a lot of times these beliefs go back to who you believe that you are. If that,
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't coach, but, inevitably I'm always running into the people that need to be coached or need help or need some kind of guidance. And what was scary is this person was in a career that they shifted to owning their own business, but they were in a career that it was, I guess, a very toxic environment. And whatever happened, and I don't know, all the details or whatever, but literally I was on the phone with her yesterday and she was crying because she felt like that she was creating a business again that might be related to that toxic environment. And, she knows what it is, but what is it that she's doing that's making her, feel that way? And so it made me feel sad because, on the other hand, she knows that she's got this going on, but then she doesn't have any support to help her with the problem. So it was kind of a very sad thing.
Yeah. See there, we all need help. Okay. But that right there tells you that she just keeps creating the same scenario over and over again. And you can't look at the external. You have to look internal. And you have to look into the belief. What is the belief that is, having me create this in my life? And you got to go down to the core and figure out what that is. Or otherwise, you'll just keep creating the same thing over and over and over.
Sounds like the definition of insanity.
Right. And you know, we all have these beliefs that are running. You need to know what core beliefs are running your life. You know, there was a time when I thought that I had to have, it was like, well, it was, my belief was I've got to prove myself worthy of love. So by doing that, I would never listen to my own heart, my own feelings, and express those. So I was always creating scenarios where I was trying to prove myself. And you don't have relationships that way. You've got to talk from your heart and, you know, express your feelings if you're going to have true relationships with people. But when you get into, like, she's in a toxic environment, you know, she needs to be asking herself, what is it? Why do I believe that I deserve this toxic environment?
Right. Well, I mean, to clarify a little bit more, she was in a toxic environment, but it's still now that she works on her own, it's not that she's created a toxic environment at home, but it's like she's doing some things that are reminding her of that toxic environment. And it was just really interesting because I'm like, I was trying to figure out, like, I have this thing in my head that, you know, when things aren't going right or when something's going wrong or just it's, you know, you have one of those days where tech doesn't go right or something goes wrong. I just always have the belief that, well, guess what? I could just kind of simply begin again and it's going to be okay. I always tell myself that no matter what happens, it's just going to be okay. And so for her, it was just it was sad for me because I felt like I couldn't help her. And I mean, even that it wasn't the environment to help her. Like we were all just having a chat, but it was like, it was sad because I felt like I feel like if she just would have moved one step forward, she would have gotten to the bottom of it, you know, who knows? But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, sometimes people in those situations, they're paralyzed. They're paralyzed in fear. They're stuck. They don't really see what you see. And so you want to help them to be able to see. And you've got to use certain words and you've got to help them to, sometimes it's feeling. You want to look at a person physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. That's what I do when I work with people, because sometimes it may be something physical, something small. I look at the things. Sometimes it may be something in their mindset. Sometimes maybe it's they're not connected. You want to connect each day. And a lot of people aren't doing that. So it's really simple basics as cause and effect, you know, like the small and simple things that you do each day.
Absolutely. I have just recently, I've been on my own little journey I always was a night owl. And one of the reasons why is I used to work in a hospital and I had the night shift. So like my adrenaline always kicks in around 11 o'clock at night. And it's never changed, even though I haven't worked the night shift since 1998, I haven't worked the night shift. And at 11 o'clock, my boom, I just like, it's so crazy. And so I've been like looking at all the things around sleep and what I could do better. Like, you know, one of the things that I've been making a practice of is actually shutting off all my, you know, devices, because I realized that I use like in the afternoon, I start using blue light glasses because I've been on the computer all day. Now I set my phone to like literally shut down. Like I'm going to get no more notifications, nothing. I don't see anything because I sleep with my, you know, activity watch on. So I don't want it to notify me while I'm in the middle of my sleep. So anyways, long story short, the things that I was doing before wasn't until I started to do these things that I realized, oh man, this is really helping me. I should have started this a long time ago.
Hey, here's a little trick that you can do also is if you will get up at sunrise or within 30 minutes of when the sun rises and go outside and look in the sun. And then same thing at sunset, go outside, look up to the sky, look at the sunset. Then that will naturally set your biorhythm again. Really helps a lot.
I can imagine. I remember, I don't know what book it was. I read a book it was a long time ago, but it said in the morning, instead of grabbing that cup of coffee, drink water to hydrate. And, I actually do lemon water. So I do lemon water in the morning. I've done that for a while. I've established that habit a while ago, but in that it did say, if you can go outside, to go outside. And just a matter of just going outside will kind of energize you a little bit too. So, and it's true. I try to cause I work from home. So I try to get a walk in, today, the sun is out. It's a beautiful day out. So I'll just take a little walk around the block. When I come back, I'm all ready. So it's just kind of an interesting little thing. I did read this. And I know a lot of when I'm networking, I hear this over and over again. I don't know if you hear it too, is people will say, oh, I overslept because I put the snooze button on and it didn't go off or whatever. What I read recently is if you put the snooze button, so say you wake up, you wake up to your alarm. So automatically your dopamine starts moving. Everything starts, and then if you go back to sleep, then that sleep, serotonin, that actually starts coming in. So you actually confuse your body by hitting the snooze button. And it's interesting. It was a good thing I read that because first of all, I never, ever used to wake up to an alarm. So I do now because I want to get up a little bit early. I try to get up a little bit earlier every day so I can finish in the office earlier. And then what ended up happening was one day I was so tired that I decided to hit the snooze button and I never felt rested. Well, now I know why. So no more snooze button for me. So for all you business owners out there, don't hit that snooze button. Stay awake because your dopamine is just getting started and you want to just keep on moving. So I want to ask something because a lot of times, you have your coaching business. So it's a business. What would you say you enjoy most about being a coach and doing your business?
Well, it's really, really fulfilling to see people shift and grow, to transform their lives. I can, and I love helping people. I'm a real ideas person. So I find great fulfillment in helping people to achieve, to grow, to be the best that they are, version of themselves. And to have just like this one girl I talked to just recently, and I told her last week, you got to send me a 60-second video on this. But, we worked on her core issue about sugar. Actually, her family, the women are known for eating sweets. And so it started with her grandmother. And so if they go shopping or something, they get a sweet afterwards. If they do this, they have a little sweet. And she wanted to cut down on her sugar. And of course, I told her about taking chromium. You can take chromium and that will really cut down your sugar. But she didn't even take the chromium. We worked on her issue and helped her to release the core issue of believing in order to be a woman in her family and to be loved and accepted and so forth. She was known and taking on the identity that women in her family eat sweets. We released it. And the last 2 times that I've talked to her, the last 2 weeks, she's like, I don't even want sugar. And she had gone to a family vacation where all her aunts and I said, did you have any problem? No, to have no desire whatsoever. That's fulfilling to me. When people achieve what they want. Because I lived my whole life not feeling like I could achieve my goals, have the success that I wanted. And it's like you're a prisoner. Or it's just like the lady this morning, talking about, she couldn't overcome the sweets, but she can do everything else. I like to go in there and solve those core issues and help people to feel good about themselves. And there's nothing more fulfilling. Or if you look at people, achieve their goals in their business. Some people will say, I want to have my increase in my cash flow that's so much. And to have them go out and to find the big deal from one week to the next, there's nothing more fulfilling.
Absolutely. So we always talk about the glamour of our businesses, the fun parts. But what would you say your biggest challenge is when you're doing your business?
My biggest challenge would be, I'm in a place now where I'm really in a big transition period. For 25 years, I've done what I've done. I've always sold big coaching packages, never did the small stuff. December, I started marketing, and that opened up like a whole new world. And it's I guess the hard part would be the day-to-day stuff. And so I got involved with the EOS system. I'm a typical visionary. And so I hired an integrator that will take care of that day-to-day stuff. And actually now, I've said for years, I don't want a business. I just want to help people. But now I do want a business. So the hardest part for me now is to take responsibility for the business part to get this process out to people. Does that make any sense at all?
No, it does. It does. And here's the thing, is like for everyone out there that, is doing the day-to-day business. I actually heard you say that you hired somebody to integrate all this. There's a lot of stuff that's involved. And
Yeah.
I'm big on, I think that we should do the things that we're passionate about and then delegate the rest. However,
that's the hard part for me. Yeah, there we go.
Yes. And so for some people, that's hard. For other people, they may not have the funds to be able to delegate. But I will say this, you should always know how to do everything in your business anyways. But as soon as you're able to delegate, even if it's a part-time person or somebody that works 5 hours or subcontracting somebody just for a project, don't do it yourself. If you can, like that landing page that you've always wanted to create, or setting up your email autoresponders or whatever that is, that's just a little project. You could go and get that done on Fiverr very cheaply, or you can hire somebody in your local community. I'm big on, hiring people in my local community, because I feel like, so I try to shop local every week. So yes, that's a challenge for, I think, every business owner is delegating, and there's so much even that comes with that. As a coach, how do you stay on top of your game? How do you, is there some educational stuff that you do to stay on top of your game? Do you go to seminars? How do you retool or learn about new things?
Well, I pretty much do. I've always followed my passion. So I'm constantly, whatever I'm teaching is what I'm doing. And that's how it's been since the beginning. I'm working on myself. I work with a coach that, yesterday, he told me some pretty eye-opening things. But the minute I saw it and the minute I accepted it, it was like I was opened up. I was released. It's just so, sometimes we don't want to look at these truths, these imperfect, in my place where I was always trying to prove myself worthy. I have to watch for that, because then I don't want to accept my imperfections, the shadow side. And so I stay on my game, and I learn by working on me. That's been my process since the very beginning. So I just keep working on me. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's, just now I need, my next step is to get out there and start dating again. And that's big for me. But, that's something that I want to do. But that's it takes time. And
yeah,
so I just work on me. How I stay on top of my game is I keep working on me, and I have a, morning routine. I stay very connected. I do a lot of reading, and, like I said, I work with a coach, and it's really, for me, it's who I am. I think health and wellness has always spurred me on, because it starts with the physical. I grew up on fast food and antibiotics. So by the time I was 20 years old, my stomach was wrecked, and I had just gotten married, and I believe it or not, I was constipated. And my mother found this lady at church who gave her a bottle of herbs, and they worked so well that I thought, oh my gosh, this is incredible, that I went to that lady, when I got my next bottle. And that's when I started learning about herbology, iridology, all the things. Now, my latest thing, and through the years, that's, I had all my children at home. They never had an antibiotic in their life. I have 4 children. My youngest is 27 now. And through the years, I've just always been interested in health and wellness, but that led me also to the subconscious work that I do and the mindset, because you can sometimes do all the things physically, but still have the problem. And if you have the mindset, if you have the thought, it doesn't matter how good you eat. If you got negative thinking going on, you're going to cause problems. And so I want to feel good. My mother took me to the Beatles when I was 4 years old. I was 20 feet from the stage, and I would listen to, I always wanted to feel good. My mother wanted to feel good. And so I'm still that way today. I want to feel good. Sometimes you got to look on all levels. I think of us as a human being. We're physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's like 4 tires on a car. And if one of them goes flat, you're not going to feel that good.
Right.
I could go on and on. Yeah, I've always wanted to be happy.
So here's the thing. I have to I want to close this out, but if there was one piece of advice that you can give a business owner, someone who works full-time in their own business, what would it be?
Take care of yourself first. You've got to do those things, that the small and simple things each day, to take care of yourself, to be aware, conscious individual. So basically, when it all boils down to it, all these learning modalities that I've learned, it all boils down to how much you love and accept yourself. And if you do that and you're connected, everything else will work out.
That's awesome. If somebody resonated with you today and wants to find out more about how they can be coached, or how they, can live the best life that they want to live, how could they get in touch with you? I'll
give you my link. They can do a discovery call. It's a 30-minute discovery call, or you can take my 7 steps quiz. It's just 7 answer these 7 questions, and we can get on a discovery call. And I will give you that link for the discovery call and the quiz if they want to.
That's great. And I'll put that in. I'll put that in the podcast when it goes out. I want to thank you so much for being my guest today. And I've learned so much just even by talking with you. So I just hope that everybody else has learned a little bit. And remember, it always starts with taking care of yourself first. So
it
just
starts
remember,
with you. You're the face of your company.
Absolutely. So thanks again. And until next week, everybody, I'll talk to you soon. Have a really great day.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram at BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.